Welcome to You're Not the Boss of Me. If you are determined to break glass ceilings and build it your way, this show is for you. I'm your host, Beth Graves, and I am obsessed with helping you to not just dream it, but make the plan, connect the dots, and create what you crave. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hey bosses, welcome back. This episode feels a whole lot different than last week when I was recording. We've got big stuff going on and it feels very uncertain. And before we go into this episode with my guest today, I want to just take a moment to tell you that it's okay to just feel uncertain, and it's okay to just take a moment. And we talk in the network marketing space, you build online. This is your time to show people your business opportunity and all of those things. But I want to bring you back to it's about connection right now. It's about who can we serve. It's about who needs us to reach out to them and have a FaceTime because they're isolated without family. I hope you're listening to this in the future and you're thinking, what is she talking about? So this episode is airing with all of the quarantines and the self-isolation and dealing with the COVID-19 health pandemic. And you guys know that I'm all about building a business and strategy, and you're going to get that today. And what Todd shared today with us was magical because it talked about how to have the conversations and how to show up in your business. And I want to talk with you about how to take care of you before we jump into that episode. So thank you for listening today, and thank you for making me a part of your space. It really does mean so much to me. And over in Camp Elevate on Facebook, that's our community. We have been doing an abundant shift this week, and it came at a perfect time because we all needed to just spend some time looking at our energy and looking at how we want to process what's happening. And I have a journal challenge, and I'm encouraging you to come into the group and participate. And we're sharing affirmations all over the place, along with intentional business activity. Like, we're not only in there talking how to process all of the emotions and how to bring a higher vibration energy. We're in there talking about how does that relate to business as well. And one of my very favorite journal activities, and I want to share that with you before we jump into the episode. And we're doing it in the group. You can go to the campelevategroup.com. And I encourage you to do this. I've been doing it every morning since this pandemic started, or since I realized 5 days ago how serious it is. And I got this from Gabby Bernstein, Super Attractor. And I journal, how do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? What do I want to receive? What do I want to give? And then I reaffirm how I want to feel. And then a thought download, just everything that comes up. And that has allowed me personally to just get into a better energetic space and then spend some time with quiet meditation and really, really focus on that morning routine. And then you can shift over to becoming the homeschooler, the homeschool mom, more meals that you're making because more people are at home. Many of you have your college students at home. Maybe you have your parents living with you, but we've got this. We've got this together. And I just want you to know that I wish you peace and I wish you strength. And if you need me, reach out. I'm here. I'm a Facebook Messenger little conversation away over on Instagram. Come on over to camp. And I wanted to start with that. And I really, really would love to see you guys in Camp Elevate because there's so much support. I'm watching people rise up and share live videos and share affirmations. And we're making business moves too. Because at this time, those of you with a home-based business, with a network marketing business, know that there is a way that we can share that feels authentic. There's somebody that needs your message today. And I want you to realize that your conversation could literally shift a family's financial situation right now. And it's a tremendous gift and honor that we have. So with that, I want to introduce our guest today. His name is Todd Falcone. Many of you know him as the Fearless Networker. He's written many, many books. He has a book called The Fearless Networker. And Todd chats with us today. He's been in the industry and now he coaches over 25 years in the profession. And what I like to think about Todd is he just cuts right to the chase. He talks about what are the revenue making activities and what does it take? What kind of work does it take to make the income that you desire? He teaches the fundamentals of success in network marketing. And this is a powerful podcast. So here we go. I'd love for you to stick around and listen as I interview Todd Falcone.
Welcome, Todd.
Great to be here, Beth. How you doing?
Well, I'm happy to talk to you because those of you that are listening in a timely manner, we're experiencing something that we've never experienced or even imagined. And there are a lot of eyes and ears on building in the network marketing model. So I wanted to bring what I think is the industry god. Do you like me? Have you ever been called that before?
I've never been called that one before.
People heard in the intro what you are all about, but if you were just meeting me for the first time and I didn't already know about you through being a network marketer, how would you introduce yourself to me at a cocktail party?
How would I introduce myself? Well, my name's Todd. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a speaker and a trainer. Been in the network marketing profession for 30 years. Fell in love with this industry right when I looked at it. Conceptually, I was like, oh my gosh, what's not to get about this? Leveraged income, no boss. I never liked having a boss. I was never a very employable person. So, I committed myself to the profession. I worked in the field for 15 and a half years and ultimately ended up speaking and training, not because I ever sought out to be a speaker or a trainer, but because I had a company I'd spent a long time with that unfortunately went out of business, and somebody was kind enough to say, hey, will you come and speak at one of my events? And I said, well, what do you want me to talk about? He's like, dude, just come and talk about how you build your business. You're great at it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did. And now it's 15 years later, and here I am meeting you at this cocktail party. Kind of a weird introduction, but I don't know if I would introduce myself quite like that, but you get a quick little background story for sure.
I love it. And considering yourself unemployable, because that's how I ended up in network marketing, and the name of the podcast, You're Not the Boss of Me. I want to ask you right now, and I will share with everyone that I had it on my vision board to have you on this podcast. So I seriously manifested this interview.
Awesome.
And when I was introduced to you, the very first thing you said to me was, what's your phone number? And you are the very first person that I've interviewed, or even anyone that has said, what is your phone number? And that to me shows me exactly why you've had the success in network marketing. And so talk about what you feel is the difference between connection, personal connection, and what we're seeing online, and how someone listening that is stuck with their network marketing business or isn't seeing the growth. I think that phone call showed me how you built your network marketing business and your coaching business.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I love technology. I love using social media. I've been around since before any of this stuff existed. Back in the day, we were doing all business opportunity presentations, and then VHS tapes and cassette tapes, and then CDs, and then email came along. And so I've always been an adopter of new technologies that we can use to build the business. But for me, it's a person-to-person business, right? I mean, you're buying because of the relationship typically you have with me. I know, and I've done a lot of cold market prospecting, and I've certainly built a lot of my business that way as well. But even then, it's a phone call. I think what's happening right now is a lot of people are leaning, and this is just natural, just human behavior. Human behavior is taking the easier road, right? And what people perceive as the easier road is, maybe if I can just throw out a bunch of stuff on social media or not have to talk to people, I can go build a big business. And I don't know how you could actually build a big business in network marketing, one that's lasting, without having that human connection, without having that real, if you were going to sponsor me or I was going to sponsor you, I have to talk to you. I'm not going to just text message you back and forth or message you back and forth on Facebook. I need to have a chat with you and figure out whether we make a good match and get to know you a little bit. And my phone is the thing that's made me more money than anything else before cell phones existed. And now everybody's got a phone in their hands. And it's funny because we were talking yesterday or day before, I can't remember because yesterday was like a crazy day, but about this whole, people going out into the marketplace and like thinking that they don't have to make a phone call to build a business. All the internet marketers, all these internet systems and marketing companies that have come along where it's like, hey, just like put a capture page together, drive traffic. First of all, dude, seriously? Like most people don't have a clue how to drive traffic. Like I'm a marketer. I've been in network marketing for years, and you take a brand new person and say, hey, go drive traffic to this capture page. They're like, what's traffic? They don't even know what traffic is. You talking about on the roads? And so I don't know. I just think that even to this day, like I'm the guy I ran a couple errands. I actually left my house today for a little bit. And the entire time I left my house, I was on the phone, checking in on some family members, checking in on some clients. But I think especially now, people more than ever need to actually hear from you.
When I look at the way that was intuitive for me to build was I need to have a conversation. I need to have a connection. And I want anyone that's a part of the community to be with me for the long haul. So today I have just picked up the phone and called the leaders and reached out to a new person that I noticed had put in a lot of orders and said, hey, can I give you a quick call? And it's interesting because I didn't realize she had a large team in another company. She said, nobody has ever said, will you give me a call? And I love this because I feel that some people don't want to be a part of what I tell people it takes, because I will be honest and say, you have to pick up the phone. You can only do so much by sharing inside of a group or doing a live video and tagging someone. All of those are good tools. So tell me more. We're talking about connection, picking up the phone. I'm going to give you all of the maybe excuses or all of the fears that come up with people. So one of the things they say is, oh gosh, people will roll my eyes when I reach out because it's like that network marketing thing. And so obviously you and I have the belief that this is the most exceptional business model. What's your answer to that?
Well, and you already answered it in the question, is people have a disbelief in what they're involved in. And I think one of the biggest issues for people, I mean, I speak all over the world for network marketing companies, and there's people in every room that they have a distributor ID number, but they're in a doubting position, so they're like, here's a question I would pose for your listeners. Like if you're involved in network marketing and the opportunity presents itself, like you're engaging somebody in conversation, let's say it's in a social environment and you have it on your mind, oh, I'd love to, this is a perfect person for my business. And the opportunity was there, but then you didn't seize the opportunity. You didn't say, listen, hey, look, I've got this business I'm doing. I think you would be grateful with this. Do you keep your options open at all in terms of making money outside of what you're doing, or whatever the question is? If you don't do it, yet the opportunity presented itself, you got to ask yourself right then and there, why didn't I do it? What was like the predominant thought or feeling? And of course it's, oh, I didn't want to, I don't want them to judge me. I didn't want to be rejected. It's any number of, it's not that many different fears, but a handful of different fears. But the biggest fear that I find is people are too concerned about how somebody's going to respond to them if they're involved in network marketing. It's like, oh, one of you network marketing people. So, well, then just don't be one of those people, right? Step
Amen.
up your game, right? Do it in a professional manner. It's like the friend that calls you up and lies to you and says, hey, I'm having a cocktail party at my house. Come on down. A whole bunch of people are coming over, bring some of your friends, and they lube you up a little bit. And the next thing you know, here comes a whiteboard out from behind with the whatever, and they start pitching you a deal. That's just classless. Like, it's fine. Hey, I'm having a party. I'm having a bunch of people over. We're going to share some of our products and what we're doing in our business, but it's going to be mostly fun. We're going to spend a couple minutes talking about that. Now they know what they've gotten themselves into, and they can say yes or no to that invite. But, not telling the truth is, to me, just stupidity, right? And I think people really have to, if they're struggling, they got to get themselves into this mindset. Like, if somebody came to you or I know this is fact, like if they said, is this network marketing? Your answer would be, absolutely it is. You wouldn't even hesitate. You wouldn't be like, no, well, you wouldn't stammer. You would be super confident knowing, because here's the thing. Once you believe and you know that the truth shall set you free, right? So when you understand the legitimacy and what network marketing is, not that, it's work. You know it. You got to hustle. You got to work. You got to put the time, the effort, and the energy in. But for somebody that puts the time, effort, and the energy in, it's going to work if they do it. If they don't do it, which a lot of people don't, they kind of come in and they dilly-dally around, and then it didn't work for me. I'm like, dude, didn't work for you. You reached out to 3 people in 9 months. That's why it didn't work for you. It's not that the model didn't work, is that you didn't work within the model.
So, yes. And a lot of people show up and say they're doing the work because they're showing up on the team Zooms and the events. And And for many people, they just want to hang out and have a good time, but don't expect the money to come, because honestly, the amount of effort equals the amount of your commissions. A few people may get lucky, but right, it is work. So many listeners today, we call them our bosses, are out there and they're listening to this podcast, and suddenly there's been a shift in their life. This was just their Disney money bank account. And now they're needing to make this more their mortgage money or their career money. What would that day, if I was new and coming to you, or just maybe I wanted to go from $200 a week to $20,000 a week, how would you coach me? What would you say?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say, first of all, I'd ask you, how coachable are you? Are you coachable? Are you willing to follow directions?
Right.
If you don't follow directions, like I look for three things in people. Number one, desire. And if they really have the desire to change, that's the first thing. Number two, coachability. Are you coachable? And number three, the willingness to initiate. So those are three, like if I was building a business today, those would be three main things that I would require. Because if you're going to come in and try to reinvent the wheel and do it your way, the reality is you don't even have a way, right? So I would say you got to come in, plug in and play with the system, follow directions, and then come in with an understanding that it doesn't happen overnight. Skills take time to accumulate. Volume takes time to accumulate. People take time to accumulate. I do think because people who have worked for a living in an employed capacity for all of their lives, they have very specific expectations around earnings. Like I work for 2 weeks, I get a check. I work for 2 weeks, I get a check. A new person coming to this profession, you could work for 2 weeks and not get a check. It's all, as you know, based on production. So I would have to have this conversation with an individual. If you're saying I'm making 200, what is it going to take me to get to 20 grand a month or 20 grand a week? I would have to have this conversation with this individual so that they're clear on what the expectation is and what is going to be required for them to get there. And let's just keep it at 20 grand a month for a second. If it was 20 grand a month, I'm going to tell you, look, it's going to take you some time to get there. We can get there. How much time do you have available and that you're willing to commit to the business? Because then, and these are like agreements that you have to have between a sponsor and the new person. Because a new person coming in and says, oh, I want to make 20 grand a month. I'm like, okay, cool. When do you want to do that? I'd like to get that done next month. I'm like, okay, well, that's probably not going to happen. And number two, how much time can you put in? I can put in 30 minutes a week. Well, total mismatch around what they want and what they're willing to put in. So, but if a person says, look, I want to make 20 grand a month in this business, and I don't care how long it takes, and I've got 20 hours a week to specifically dedicate to the business, what should I be doing? Well, first of all, we want to make sure you're armed. We want to make sure you understand the process. We want to make sure you understand how to invite. We want to make sure that you are plugged into what we do. And then I would get you into a very specific action mode of, look, every single day, revenue producing activities, the most important thing that anyone should do, whether they're a high level leader or whether they're just getting started in this business, is I got to go put customers on our product and I got to go put distributors in the business. If we look at network marketing in its most simplistic format, there's only two things we do. We get people in and we keep them in, right? We get customers in and we get distributors in, and we do things after they become a customer, or we've, in this case, made a sale, which a sale is the first month. It's a customer is somebody who repeats after that. And then the distributor, you got to understand that most people will have like a countdown timer on them. And we don't know when the timer is going to go off. For somebody, it might be 3 months. Somebody, it might be 6 months. Somebody, it might be a year. And as you kind of briefly mentioned, some people are just hanging out, and they will hang out forever and not make any money, but love the community. And the other thing is, I don't like pressuring those people. If you're totally happy and you're like, hey, I love coming to the events and I've got some customers, maybe got a couple reps, I make $100 a month, but you know, there's going to be people on your team that are making $100 a month, and that's fine. But if you are like Bo the trainer at the gym and you're the big buffed Bo the trainer, and every time I come into the gym, you're like, dude, you need to lift more weights. How come you're not pump? And I'm just coming in there to get a little cardio, stay a little limber. And I'm not looking to look like Bo. And every time I come in and Bo's like, boo, you got to come on now. You know what's going to ultimately happen is I'm not going to come back to the gym anymore because you've made it uncomfortable for me to come back to the gym. Now, I'm not saying we don't encourage people to do more and help push them along and help them to develop a higher level of belief and maybe a deeper understanding of what they can do. But there's so many people at different levels that come into this business. And honestly, most of our businesses are built on part-timers. A great majority of the people are never going to go make six figures plus a year, because most people aren't willing to do the work for the long enough period of time to make that happen. Because look, it really, I'll just say it pisses me off, to be honest with you. It pisses me off that people think that we're a get business, because we're definitely not. Can you get wealthy in this business? Yes, you can. Can you create a tremendous lifestyle change? Absolutely, you can. But it comes with a price. It comes with the price of sweat equity over an extended period of time, facing your fears, and being willing to, okay, if I got to know, I'm going to move on to the next person. I'm not going to go lay on the couch for the next week because somebody decided not to do my business. So, look, you came into this business and hustled and achieved great success in a short period of time. I started at age 22 and struggled for 2 years. But either my naivete or my desire, I don't know what it was, but I stayed long enough to see the result. Maybe I was just stubborn. I don't even, because it's so long ago, I just knew that if I kept at it long enough, I'm going to get what that guy has. And so I just wanted it that bad. And I didn't, you and I are very much like I'm like psychologically unemployable. I don't play well with others. I play well with others, but I don't play well with others. I couldn't even imagine like going to work for somebody else, because I've now obviously over the years discovered the beauty of what network marketing can do for you.
Okay. So much great information there. And I'm taking mad notes because it's just things that over and over again. And I loved when you said it's not a get rich quick thing. It is something. And the thing that I get pretty emotional about is when people quit too early and then I see them struggling later down the road, or they might come back in. Those people, I always say, like, turn the lights on for your business. Every single day, the lights go on for your business. Someone reached out to me this week and she said, I have to get 6 new customers, blah, blah, blah. And she hasn't turned her lights on for her business in 3 months. I didn't even know she was still in the game. And so I think about just showing up every day to work and doing those revenue producing activities, right? Getting the new customers in. So with that, you said you didn't have success for 2 years, but you're a 22-year-old stubborn, watched people, I'm sure, and said, I can have what he has. I'm going to stay until. What was your biggest, whether you were standing on a stage, you opened a commission report, someone else in your network had been able to leave a 9-to-5, what is your biggest moment that you still think, and it gives you chills to think about when you were working in the industry?
I can literally point to one very specific one, which was at the Bonaventure Hotel in Los Angeles in 1991. I was at an event, and there were actually 2 things that took place at that same event. One of them was, here's this guy that was the leader of our company, who was, even to this day, was one of the most amazing people on the platform I've ever seen, had made millions and millions of dollars in the business. And it was interesting. He showed this video. Actually, I have it. So I pulled it out and I showed it to my wife a couple of weeks ago. And he had this video of him in, I think, 1986, giving a whiteboard presentation. In the 1980s, whiteboard pens were really squeaky. So when you wrote, it was like, ring, 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 ring. Like every time you touched it, ring, they made noise. They finally fixed that, right? And I watched him give this presentation, and he was pathetic. He was terrible. It was bad. He looked bad. The presentation was just, and there he is up there. And I thought, oh my gosh, 86 to 91. If that guy can go from there to there in 5 years, I got a chance. Even if I do 5% of what that guy did in that period of time, thank you, Lord, I have a chance. So it allowed me to see, because a lot of times people, I think Natalie Cole is the one that has this quote, but people always see the glory. They don't know the story. They see where you are and they see what you got. And I think it must have always been that way, but they don't know the journey and the process that you had gone through to get there. And the second thing, and it was at that same event, it was interesting. I had 2 big epiphanies at that event. My sponsor was sitting right next to me. And I, from the moment I signed up, I had the work ethic. I had people in my office like, dude, you're the hardest working guy here. I showed up, I listened, I followed instructions. I was hungry, but I wasn't really seeing the result. And my buddy looked at me. So this guy was doing this skit, basically. He use these different characters and taught lessons through character skit. And he was playing the Joker. And essentially, I'm not going to go through the whole skit, but essentially it was lighten up, man. Have a good time. Enjoy the journey. Giggle. This should be fun for you. And I was so serious. Like, I've always treated my business serious, but I was so serious, like so grinding serious that I was pushing people away from me. And I remember my sponsor was sitting on my right. He just looked at me. And it was funny because I can see his face almost like the Joker. He was just like, that's you, Falcone. And I was like, yeah, it is. And what's fascinating is I went home from that event and I was doing like 13,000 a month in volume, which was good, decent volume. But by the end of that month, we pushed that volume up over 65,000 in 1 month. And I was not even like, I was like 8, 10, 12, 9, 6. I had one good month. And by the end of that month, we took, that volume significantly up over a period of like 2 weeks. And it was simply like a shift in my attitude and how I approached people. And it was, wow, if that guy can go from there to here, I got a chance. It was like this whole mental shift that took place inside of me. And I had a huge breakthrough that month. It was big. In fact, that month I had, and then I got the check from that month. And it was interesting because I was at 13,000 in volume and it was like 60. I don't remember the total amount of sales volume at the end of the month, but my check I got the next month was right around 13 grand. And I was like, what? I'd never seen $13,000 in my life. So then that check to me was also the proof. Like, oh yeah, if I can do that, I can do that again. So I think we go through life and we have different like lessons and epiphanies, but that's definitely something that's super clear in my brain.
That shift from, you probably were, because you were doing all the things, right? The prospecting, the phone calls, and that's that shift of belief. And also when I hear you say that, like, be the Joker, of the people actually feel that energy of not having that pressure. Like, oh, he knows he's bringing me into a successful organization. And so that shift into belief is so big. And that, I think, is where you look at the glory. And it might seem easy for someone that has had success to have those conversations. So if you haven't had the glory yet and you don't have that confidence, what is your suggestion for that?
Well, you have to lean on other pillars. So, for example, just because you haven't had the success, you don't like, it's one thing if once you have the check, you're like, okay, I get it, right? The proof is in the pudding. It's right in my hand. Okay, I know it works because I got the check. But before you have the check, what do you lean on? Well, we have to lean on the success of other people. So you got to ask yourself, are people in network marketing making money? And I think any person that's in any business, whether they've made anything or not, will say, yeah, for sure. People are making money in network marketing. Are they making the kind of money in their life that you might like to have in your life? Oh yeah, no, I definitely know people are making money. I'd love to have what they got. Well, I mean, that should give you enough belief in the business model of network marketing that it works, right? And then look at your company. Are people making money in your company? And very likely there are lots of people that are having huge success in whatever company that you're involved in. And so that's another thing that you can lean on. So not only do you know that network marketing works, but you know that the people in your company are getting results. So those are things like those are pillars of belief, right? Those are pillars of belief that you can lean on. Now, interestingly enough, and I'll share this with you, we always have to be working on our mindset. It's like a never-ending process. Like I have a coaching client right now who, I think prior to her being involved in network marketing, she was maybe maximum $50,000 a year as a massage therapist. And in 4 years, she made $1.5 million in 4 years in network marketing, which is far beyond $50,000 a year. That would be like roughly $200,000. And she did one of the biggest mistakes that I talk about in network marketing. I actually called the kiss of death in network marketing, which is the moment you go from personal recruiting and sponsoring to only working with people on your team. And now I understand when you start, it's just you and you're all alone. Now you got a couple customers, you got to service your customers, you got to have a couple reps, you're helping those reps. And then now you got a bigger team. Now you have a bigger team. Now you're having more demands on your time. People are calling you and I have questions or support or three-way calls, or you talk to this person, help me out. And so you have this natural gravitational pull towards supporting your team, which is part of our responsibility. But the one thing that you never do is you never stop personally producing. And unfortunately, a lot of people get to a comfortable position and they stop doing the things that got them there in the first place. And she had gone into management mode for a period of like a year and a half where she just went into playland. And as a result of that, her check flattened and then her check started to dissipate and her check can continue to dissipate. And she said to me, I just don't know if I believe in this. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? If I could come up there, I can't, you're in Vancouver. I can't touch you right now, but I would like grab you by the throat and shake you. I wouldn't literally do that, obviously. But look, girl, how much did you make again in the last 4 years? She goes, I made $1.5 million. I said, how much were you making before? She goes, I was making like maximum 50 grand a year. Stop there for a second. That's your pillar that you should be leaning back on. So here's a person that already built a business, had created a huge level of success, and then she was operating from a position of disbelief. And the reason was, because she stopped working. And there's so many, because I deal only like coaching wise and working with people with, 6-figure, 7-figure earners. And I mean, occasionally I'll coach somebody that I'm very selective with like my one-on-one coaching because it's my time, but most of the people are pretty high level earners. And a lot of them are people that just got off the horse for too long and they need help kind of getting their butt back in gear. And it's cool because I actually talked to her day before yesterday and she's like, I'm so glad we had that conversation. She goes, I'm back on fire again. I put 4 new associates in so far this month. And this was maybe the 7th of March, I think, when I talked to her. So she was already back, in the saddle. And I could tell from her whole attitude, like, she's like, I'm in, I got it. Because we had this conversation about you need to lean on that pillar of belief that you already have done it. So for you to say that you can't do it or that you don't believe anymore is ridiculous. So it doesn't matter where we're at. I mean, you could be new or you could have been in the business. Like staying in action is critical. Even like now, like given, like, I don't know when you're releasing this, but I'm assuming it's going to be pretty soon.
Monday.
Okay, Monday. So we're in the midst of all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
We, more than ever, I think, need to stay in action. Because if you're sitting at home on your couch, that's not helping you. If you're sitting here like, oh my gosh, like I'm just going to sit on my TV and watch news all day, which is basically the same thing over and over again, it's not helping you. As a network marketer, those of you that are listening that are involved in the network marketing profession, I would say to you, it's more important than ever that you step up to a higher level of responsibility because we are truly a home-based business. I've been to many events where they're talking about the gig economy and how the gig economy is impacting network marketing because it's a choice, like Uber, Lyft, Airbnb. Right now, that's not a choice. All of those are impacted. All the Uber drivers are out of business right now. My friend who I talked to a couple days ago, she has an Airbnb, all cancellations. She was totally locked up, completely booked constantly. No, nothing. She's going to have no income from that for at least, who knows, the foreseeable future. But here, what we have with network marketing, at home, home-based business. You can do it wherever you are. As long as you got access to a phone and a computer and you can reach out to people, you can build the business. And if you're listening to this, watching this, however it's delivered, I would suggest to you that if you're not involved in network marketing or direct sales, go find somebody who is and get involved. Because not only are you going to have the ability to earn income without having a job, but most people don't even talk about this. The tax advantages of being involved in a home-based business if you're a W-2 employee are substantial. So before you've even made a dime, you've actually increased your income substantially, even without having yet made a single penny in whatever network marketing business that you're involved in.
That's pure gold. And we'll end with one thing. And I'm so happy that you touched on that because this is Monday. And so most of us have our kids at home doing virtual schooling. Many people are out of a job. And you talked about mindset. And that right now, in my opinion, is the muscle that needs to be flexed the most and getting back into the belief. So the last piece is, in order to stay in the game, having those conversations, not having fear around asking people for money because you know what you can deliver. What would you suggest for that shift if people are feeling scarcity, scared, fear, not asking for money? Do you have a routine? Do you have a book? Do you use affirmations? Give us a little. Close us up with your best, keeping that mindset strong.
Oh, I would say it's a couple things. You need to be in a book. You need to be in an audio. You need to be in a video. You need to be doing something that's like helping your brain, like giving yourself some kind of good mental nutrition, which is not the news. And certainly right now, it is not your news feed. The news feeds in Facebook, yeah, they're maybe entertaining up until a few weeks ago. They ain't entertaining anymore. I don't even want to look at my news feed. So I would stay away from the news feed. I would suggest you stay close to the fire. What I mean by close to the fire is you stay close to the people, obviously not literally close because we have to do social distancing, right? But figuratively close to the people that are producing. So if you're in a company, in every company, in whatever the situation is, whether what we're dealing with now or any other time, there's always people that are in and doing and coming up with every reason to let's go crush this thing. And then there's a group of people, no matter how good your deal is, that are like, oh, I don't know, they don't like the logo, they don't like this, or coming up with excuses. And who are you going to follow? I'm going to follow the doers. And I have a phrase that I use on stage: do what the doers are doing, don't do what the don'ters are doing. And I know if you're an English teacher, you're like, that's not correct. That's actually doubly incorrect. I know English, I get it, but you understand what I'm saying is follow the producers, stay close to the fire, make sure you're staying plugged in, make sure you're staying around and plugged into the trainings that you're plugging into, the resources that you're plugging in, to the things that are going to feed you the right kind of information that's going to help you grow. And then the last thing I would say is, especially with all of us that are home, I mean, our days are long now because we're home and we can't even really go anywhere. My days, the last few days have been super short because like yesterday I did 9 hours of Zoom trainings, 9 hours. And so I was exhausted at the end of the day, but it was like the day flew by because I was so productive all day. So I would say now as a network marketer, there is no better time. In fact, let me actually end with this one thing. When it comes to inviting somebody to take a look at your business right now, like if in a normal environment, not this thing that we're dealing with right now, I was in the middle of launching my business and I'm reaching out to somebody who I had not yet actually approached, I would have no problem picking up the phone and saying, hey, Beth, Todd Falcone, how's it going? Good, what's up? Real quick catch up. Listen, I've only got a couple minutes. Carla and I are super excited. We just recently launched a new business. I'd love to show you what I'm up to. If I sent you a video, would you spend 15 minutes taking a look at it today? I'll call you back this afternoon. I got to go. I got another appointment I got to get to. And be in that kind of rush. I'm not saying we do it exactly like that every single time. But now I think we have a little bit more sensitivity, right? So if you're my friend, I've known you for a long time, haven't talked to you in a bit, I'd be like, Beth, hey, what's up? How are you? How are you guys doing? How are you guys holding up? What's going on? What's happening in your state? I would slow it down a little bit and have a little bit more of a conversation. Not that I wouldn't do it under a normal market situation, but I would definitely probably take 2 steps back and definitely pay more attention and listening to you. And then I would have absolutely no problem right now saying, look, I've got a business that is not at all reliant on you having to go to work. I'd feel foolish. I'd feel awful if I didn't at least give you a chance to say no to me. I've got this video. Take a look at it. If this is something that vibes with you, let's chat about it. If not, no big deal. But I got to show you this because I'd hate to not have shared this with you given what we're going through at the moment. And this is definitely a time to be inviting people to take a look at your products, your business. It's not a time to be sitting around worrying. You got to be the warrior, not the worrier, right? You got to be somebody who's willing to step up. Worry, Dr. Wayne Dyer had a quote, all worry is a waste of time. And when I first heard that, I was like, man, that's brilliant. Because every time I've ever worried or been stressed out, it's like, how is this helping the situation? It's not helping the situation. We need people that are stepping up as leaders, as warriors, and not going to get sucked into all the things that are currently taking place in the environment that we're in.
Thank you. And that last piece, that answered a lot of questions for me as well in terms of that reach out and how the flow of that goes. And I know the name of the podcast will be the warrior, not the worrier. And so I know that you're doing a lot of serving right now to train network marketers to give them ideas just like that. Where do people find you, get in touch with you? See, I know that you're live quite a bit on Facebook, but tell us how we can connect with you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the best place to catch me is on my website, toddfalcone.com, which is TODDFALCONE.com. You can plug in. I release a new video every week, so I am constantly pumping out new free content. In this book that I have right here on my desk, Fearless Networking, we give this away for free. All you do is pay shipping and handling. We've sold over 400,000 copies of this book, which is nuts. That's a lot of copies for a network marketing book. I mean, these best-selling Kuntz or some of these authors that you find on the bookshelves, they sell millions of copies, but not often are you seeing somebody selling hundreds of thousands of copies of a network marketing book. But we've done really well with that because it covers a lot of the very fundamentals, and it's an easy read. It's 108 pages. And it's content from cover to cover. And then one last thing I'll say for people that if you're struggling to keep your head in the game right now, which some of you are, I get it, I understand it. I run a 12-week, 90-day program called A-Team that's starting on April 14th that I would certainly invite you to participate in. The website for that's toddfalcone.com/team, TEAM. And the details are very explicit on the page. I go through what it is, but because of what we're going through right now and so many people need to keep their heads in the game, I dropped the price dramatically. Like we've always charged $500 for that 12-week program. I called my team the other day and I said, let's just cut the price way down to $99. So I had to change the page and all of that. So what I want to do is take an army of people who may be struggling right now to stay focused and keep as large of a group as possible with their head in the right direction and their eye on the prize, which is pretty necessary right now. So if somebody's interested in that, they can go scope that out if they want.
Great. And we'll put all the links in the show notes. So thank you, Todd. And I look forward to, I want to have you on again after we get through the pandemic. And I also would love for anybody that sees us, if you're on Instagram, go ahead and put this in your stories. And I want you to share something when you're on social media that you took away today about being fearless, be the warrior, not the worrier. Go check out all of Todd's social media, go to that website, take a look. For $99 to have somebody that's mentoring and coaching you during this time is huge. And I mean, that is just basically giving away your time. So thank you. And we'll catch you guys all next week.
Thank you so much for hanging with us today at You're Not the Boss of Me. Again, I want to invite you over to Camp Elevate, as I know that the supportive community is going to really serve you right now. And we have a journaling challenge. And also coming up this week, I am going to give you a very simple daily intentional plan, as Todd talked about, the revenue making activities, how to have those conversations in a time of uncertainty. So head on over to the campelevategroup.com. The link is below, or wherever you're listening to this, you will find us, I promise. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you over on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you on Facebook. Let me know how everything is going. And as I create content, I'm going to create a lot of podcast episodes for you all. I would love to hear what you want to have coming out for you. What are the areas that you want to grow? If you know some people that would be awesome guests, send those my way. I want to make this podcast our podcast. And so as I have time to create the content during our self-isolation and our stay-at-home time with our family, I want to create that content. So please send it my way. And as always, be well, be healthy. And I'm praying for you and holding you up in light and love during this uncertain time. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today on You're Not the Boss of Me. I'm hoping that you found one thing that you will do today that will allow you to move forward to that big, audacious goal. And I have a favor to ask of you, and that is leaving me a 5-star review over in iTunes. Every single week, I read your reviews. I love hearing what you have to say, and it allows me to bring you more, to get more people to interview that are doing the thing, breaking the glass ceilings, creating what they crave, and helping you with your game plan. So leave me a 5-star review, and when you do, I enter you to win the You're Not the Boss of Me swag. So make sure you leave it, and we'll reach out to you if you're the winner. Thanks so much for hanging with me today, and we'll chat with you soon.